So Steve Budd out here right now with a Guardian squad, a Howling Banshee squad, and an Autark. Autark coming up here right now, taking care of business with these Guardians. And more towards the south, it looks like we have just some more combat going on right now. Ooh, single sniper shot right there from this Warlock, just kind of zotting away. Zot, man, I love that. I love that attack animation. It looks like Acra's Acra's Autark moving on in, stabbing away at these Howling Banshees. Howling Banshees continue to take some casualties. These Rangers doing a good job, but just kind of staying at an arm's length and just kind of sniping away at whatever's out there. Look at them destroying terrain with their epic battle right now. The Warlord charging on in, but being completely hassled by this Autark. And note, by the way, that Steve Budd, not having built a single additional unit, is going straight up to tier 3 as soon as he got 150 mana there, I'm guessing. So likely, my guess at this point in the game is that Steve Budd is going to be going for an Avatar. I think he's just going to hang on with the troops that he has, rely on his skill, and is just going to be teching for high-tech units there. We could see something else, Fire Prism perhaps, but this seems very familiar to me as a fast Autark, a fast Avatar build. The Rangers in the center now are perhaps going to cap this. Doesn't look like they're capping it right now, though. They're just hanging out. There we go, capping the center position now, and for the first time, looks like Acra may very well have a 2-to-1 advantage here. Acra is at 236 as the blue player, and Steve Budd is at 447 as the red player. It looks like just doing some kind of power node capping here on the left-hand side. This Guardian squad is fully up. You can see it's got a Warlock, and they do have their battle equipment. And on the northern side, again, Acra's Howling Banshees hacking away at this power node. Hopefully they'll go back and cap it now that they're done doing that. So Acra perhaps could get some power advantage here during the middle of all of this. Looks like Acra's Autark just continuing to bounce around during the center. Nobody has control over this central position for the time being. Rangers taking a snipe shot right there at the Autark, and the Autark, not wanting to take any of that business, just kind of leaps on in and wrecks away at that, killing one of the Rangers, and now being forced to engage in combat with with all of the rest of this. So looks like Acra's Autark didn't even want to, help out in any way. She's just going to back away for the time being here. I do hear the Howling Banshees. Where are they? Where are the Howling Banshees? Here we go. On the northern side of the map, we have Howling Banshees howling away like crazy and chasing down all of these Guardians. The Howling Banshees will always pretty much counter these kind of Guardians here. So using that time right now to start hacking away at these power generators once again. And Steve Budd's Autark doesn't want to have anything to do with that, or rather doesn't want that to happen at all. She activates her shield and is now just kind of hacking away like crazy, getting a nice little special attack there as Steve Budd's own Howling Banshees show up for the mix here. So his Warp Spider even taking some pot shots at those troops as they walk away. Looks like the Warlock, Autark, Wartalk. The Warlock was in the middle of trying to cap the central victory point, but that's not going to happen. Steve Budd is all over that guy, hacking and slashing away. Looks like this Warlock is going to have to retreat away, I think. But somehow he manages to stand his own. It looks like his Autark is doing a pretty good job right now. But she's getting quite low, going to have to get away. But look at that Warlock just thumping away at this Autark, knocking her on his back over and over. She wants a piece of that too, knocks him back over in response, and is now hacking away. So pretty good damage there. This Warlock definitely has to get out of the center. And once again, central control goes to Steve Budd, but you'll notice on the outskirts of the battlefield, it looks like Acra has got pretty good control over things, in that at the very least he's decapped a lot of the stuff that Steve Budd had out there. So, and as I was saying all of that, it looks like Steve Budd is building an Avatar God of War, the most expensive unit the Eldar can possibly get. That guy is going to be out on the battlefield in a real hurry. You can see that Acra is just kind of starting. He's, about halfway done with tier 3 here. Speaking of which, it looks like Steve Budd is hacking away at the rest of Acra's Guardian squad right now, having to retreat. Probably going to pick off another model or two unless that actually does retreat. And doing some pretty good damage there. So I'm just waiting to see that Avatar in the field right now and a D-cannon. So it looks like Steve Budd doesn't want to mess around with tier 2 even in the least bit. Instead wants to win this game with tier 3. So let's take a look at this gigantic Avatar right now as he's charging out onto the battlefield. I do, of course, hear that distinctive scream of Acra's Howling Banshees charging on through. Seeing that Autark and seeing that Avatar coming their way, they decide to back off again. Oh, man, Avatar coming on out. I want to see what's going to happen here. It looks like they're getting pretty gutsy. They are, in fact, attacking back in here. And he is going to wind up for the shot. Oh, and all of the Howling Banshees are just wrecked apart right there. So that's a great way to begin any sort of a battle. Come on in there with the Wailing Doom and just kind of level all those things there. So, meanwhile, though, we still have Steve Budd's Howling Banshees getting a nice little surround off on this Autark. Just kind of forcing her into a corner right now, but taking quite a few casualties in the process there. Looks like this Avatar just stomping across those energy fields, stabbing away, absolutely going to get a kill with each one of those hits. This poor Avatar, this poor Ranger here trying to get away. Why is he winding up a Wailing Doom, trying to pick off the Autarch on the way home, and he does! Oh, perfect called shot right there. He saw the Autarch running across the field and took it out and just completely wrecked all of that. That was a great shot right there. And it looks like the D cannon perhaps is lining up a shot from downtown. Perhaps it looked like a singularity just went off there. I must have missed that graphic right as I looked away, but that was definitely a singularity being fired by that D cannon. It certainly sucked away the Warlock. So Warlock on Avatar, and now you can see that Acra wanting his own Avatar too. He's jealous. This has to be symmetrical violence if it's going to be fair. He's building his own Avatar, so that's pretty cool. I do like the sudden tech to tier 3, but this game is certainly far from over. The score is still tied, and Steve Budd, while he does have this big, brutal Avatar that's basically uncountered out on the field right now, he does not really have map control right now. For the most part, it looks like Acra's doing a good job capping all this stuff all around the map right now. So Steve Budd has got to step up his map control game, but he definitely has the army that he needs. Oh, look at that. Not going to be put aside by any sort of gigantic scenery, objects, or anything like that. Pretty good use of the Avatar here. Just wants to whack away at these generators. Definitely not going to object there. Acra, for the time being, has a tiny, tiny little army here. Guardians, Howling Banshees, and Rangers losing the Autarch. That's not good. Looks like we still have some skirmishing going on here between Guardians and Guardians. Steve Budd's Guardians running away. I'm going to take a look here and just watch this Avatar hack away at this giant structure here for the time being. Making sure to cap. Look at that man. That man has got some nice abs. If you want some ripped, molten abs, talk to that gentleman. Over here on the left-hand side, looks like the Warp Spider Exarch capping away. And here we go. Acra's own Avatar with his beautiful blue and red hair. Moving on out for the time being here. So orange versus blue and red, looking pretty good. And neither of these gentlemen really wants to fight the other without some support because, you know, that's a bad scene. Let's take a look at the northern side here. We will see that Steve Budd's Autarch is still flitting around here, being useful. And everyone's just kind of standing off here in the center, just kind of trying to position. And man, just continuing to add units to his army. The Warp Spiders have been added as well. That's a great idea, especially if you know, oh no, Wailing Doom lined up by Steve Budd. A little bit off center though, not doing a lot of damage. And right now the Mark of Cain, it looks like Acra's Avatar is going to blow away all these units all around him here. So that's definitely looking pretty good. What I was going to say was there were some Warp Spiders on the field. They have been upgraded to have the aspect of the Warp Spider, which gives them haywire grenades. That could be sort of useful in this combat. Man, look at that, though. The Warlock just knocking back all of those guys. And right on top of all of those units, he's going to call down, yes! Calling down an Autarch once again. Doing some pretty good damage. Look at the pile of random bodies there. So Acra certainly not out of this yet. He's responding in kind with all of the force that he needs to. His Guardians right now are retreating away, though, from Steve Budd's Autarch. Not too much else going on over there. So, Autarch moving out here for Steve Budd. And it looks like for the time being, the Warlock here is just going to be trying to cap stuff far into this territory right now. Howling Banshees trying to, you know, act as sort of a forward guard, just kind of scouting away here, covering for the Warlock while he's taking care of business. And it looks like Acra's Autarch is also capping away at this power supply here. So, ooh, a little bit of back capping going on right now. Steve Budd, realizing that it's probably late enough into the game that he can start winning this by quickly bleeding out his opponent, is threatening a 3-cap right now. Or sorry, he was trying to threaten 2-1, but it looks like with the Rangers capping the central point, he gave up on that. And once again, we have the Wailing Doom lined up pretty nicely, getting a good amount of shots in there, and you know, doing some damage here to this Avatar. But for the time being, it looks like poor Steve Budd's Avatar is a little bit outnumbered here in the center. All of Acra's troops are here, and they're just willing to just chop away at that guy. So central control right now goes to Acra. Acra does, however, need to recap this victory point if he wants to continue bleeding out his opponent. So up here on the northern side, let's see what's going on. And you know, somewhere during all of that, the D cannon died, and I apologize. I definitely missed that while it was on the screen. But we do have a Falcon out on the field right now for Acra as well. That's not a bad addition here. Definitely with all the last cannons, he'll be able to kind of hunt and pick away at the Avatar there. So we'll have to see how he plans on using that. Meanwhile, Avatar moving along this side here with the Warp Spiders and the Howling Banshees. I do like seeing all those aspects being represented. And Steve Bud's Artark kind of deep behind enemy lines right now, just kind of decapping requisition points. Looks like a single squad of Guardians going to perhaps intercept that, but that's kind of a tough matchup there. Avatar and Falcon in the center. Looking pretty good. The Guardians now being pounced upon very deftly by the Autark. Autark hacking away at all of these Guardians. And now here we have the rest of Steve Bud's army coming in, getting a nice flank, kind of baiting them out with the Autark, and now attacking like crazy. That was a plasma grenade on the middle of all of that, and it looks like it was enough to take out that Warlord, that Warlock. Meanwhile, we have the Avatar on Avatar action, and on top of that, we have the Wailing Doom lined up the shot. Look at how much damage that Wailing Doom does to the side of the Falcon. Just kind of wrecking away at it right there. For the time being, it looks like Acra's own Avatar is just kind of looking around, trying to figure out who to attack. These gentlemen are all stabbing back and forth, but check it out. Acra's own Howling Banshees are just going nuts. They are just hacking away at this poor little Avatar who's like, oh, I'm gonna run away now. He just wants to go play by himself, stomping through all of the terrain, and I think these Howling Banshees are maybe going to be able to pick this thing off. They are so speedy on their way out. He's retreating as fast as he can, but no, he goes down. And look at that, 120 red experience for that. That's pretty huge. Right now, these Howling Banshees, level 4, by the way, hacking away at these poor little level 1 Warp Spiders who are just trying to blink away as fast as they can. Look at how speedy and strong these chicks are, though. Hacking away, getting another model right there. Taking a look around, we do see the Avatar walking around triumphantly, and perhaps this Autark going to cap this point here? No, maybe not. Oh, well. And looking around, Steve Bud's now moving out. So, some pretty serious victories right there for Acra right then. Acra is ahead right now, 2-1. He's the blue player at 122 and 376 for the red Steve Bud on this Eldar on Eldar mirror match here. So, taking a look around. Oh, nice! That was a wonderful plasma grenade thrown by Steve Bud's Guardian squad. He knew there was a retreating Howling Banshee squad coming by, just kind of called that shot, put it just in the right spot, blew up, took out a little extra model there in the meantime. So, as I say every game, retreating units do take extra damage from explosive and from melee combat. Steve Bud capping the center right now with his Autark, and Acra's Avatar stabbing away at the Warp Spider, but he's just kind of blinking away there, nothing too fancy. This Warlock continuing to be a boss, just hacking away at these Guardians, and it looks like Acra lining up his shot. Oh, taking away that retreating squad, knocking it down to 2 very, very wounded models, and the Avatar right now chopping that one in half, and we'll have to see if the Warp Spider can grab this last, if the Warp Spider can defend this last guy right here, because Acra has been doing a lot of damage. On the northern side of the map, we can see here that the Guardian squad by Acra is just kind of trying desperately to cap this power point, but boom, getting completely knocked away there, and oh, I guess not completely knocked away. There we go, with one last spear jab, she gets the last one of them out of there, keeping them from capping that point finally.